right? When is it going to turn? John, it's not turning. It's coming straight to us. It's going to turn, all right? The turn was never forecast to be on Sunday. The turn isn't even on Monday morning. The turn will come Monday afternoon, Monday evening, into Tuesday. Remember that? That was about 6 years ago. That was Hurricane Dorian, as it was absolutely devastating the Northwest Bahamas as a Category 5, sat over that region for 2 days. It was headed straight west. Lots of people in Florida were concerned the hurricane was heading here. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you it's going to turn.
Dear Democrats, if you've watched this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write your thoughts in the comments.
You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I am not sure I can do that this year, because of the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country, all right? But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. Did you know that Central and South Florida National Weather Service offices are currently basically 20 to 40% understaffed? From Tampa to Key West, including the Miami office, 20 to 40% understaffed. Now, this type of staffing shortage is having impacts across the nation because there's been a nearly 20% reduction in weather balloon launches that carry those radiosondes. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded. There's also a chance, because of some of these cuts, that NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft will not be able to fly this year, and with less reconnaissance missions, we may be flying blind. And we may not exactly know how strong a hurricane is before it reaches the coastline, like happened a couple of years ago in Hurricane Otis in Acapulco, Mexico. So I was asked to talk about this today. I'm glad I was. I just want you to know that what you need to do is call your representatives and make sure that these cuts
is something, and one of the reasons that when President Trump took office that he said he wanted to fix, and is currently upgrading the technology, and the National Weather Service has indicated that with that and NOAA that we needed to renew this ancient system that has been left in place with the federal government for many, many.
Gail Davis was in her bedroom watching the news when the storms came through Friday afternoon.
And I looked and I seen all this debris mixing, and I said, oh, we really in it.
She saw the tornado come down her street and ran to the basement.
Everything was like, just popping glass, and I was so scared.
The tornado opened up the roof over the very bedroom she was just sitting in.
One very scary story from that huge, deadly tornado that struck the beautiful city of St. Louis on Friday. 7 people died in Missouri during Friday's severe weather. The mayor of St. Louis says the damage is estimated at more than $1.6 billion in her city. I'm sorry to say the city of St. Louis is bracing for more storms tonight. These new storms are expected to be less severe, but a lot of rain and high winds is going to be dangerous in a city that is littered with loose debris like you see here. St. Louis's mayor told MSNBC today that her city is definitely going to need federal help, including from FEMA, from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. FEMA has told St. Louis that they'll have people from the agency, they'll have assessors on the ground in a couple of days, by Wednesday. Hopefully that means St. Louis will start getting some of the federal help it so obviously needs. But what's looming over this is, of course, that FEMA may not be at their best right now. Earlier this month, the acting head of FEMA was fired and then immediately escorted out of the agency's headquarters for daring to say that the agency he was tasked with running should exist. He was asked at a congressional hearing about Trump's desire to abolish FEMA. He said he didn't think that was a good idea, and so they fired him immediately and frog marched him out. The replacement head of FEMA has no background in emergency management at all. He greeted his new staff by telling them he will, quote, run right over anyone who resists him at the agency. He also told them to expect firings, expect layoffs. FEMA employees tell the Wall Street Journal the agency is months behind schedule in preparing for hurricane season, which starts less than 2 weeks.
If you've watched the video up to this point, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write your thoughts in the comments.
Friends, look. Do you remember Hurricane Dorian? 6 years ago. Everyone was on the edge of their seats, wondering whether it would swallow forward a whole or not. Thankfully, science still existed. Back then, there were still some people at the National Weather Service, and there was still a budget to launch weather balloons and fly hurricane hunters. Now, thanks to Trump's vision of sell science, print money, even weather forecasting is left to chance. Think about it. He suggested shutting down FEMA. That wasn't enough. They fired the guy in charge just because he made a smart remark in Congress and kicked him out of the building. I ask you, are we crazy? A hurricane is coming, a tornado is coming, and your only help is meteorology. And if you turn that into a bird too, what will you do? Will we climb onto the roof and measure the wind with our fingers? Ridiculous. And look, that isn't just today's problem. This year there are no balloons. Next year there will be no planes. And the year after that there may not even be any scientists left because they think investing in science a waste. Remember they said there was no such thing as climate change. They tweeted crazy things, and then when the states were flooded, they acted like it was a big surprise. Now St. Louis is destroyed. People are homeless. FEMA is in a chaos, and we put a man in charge who knows nothing about crisis management, and with his first statement, I'll run over anyone who resists. Wow, friend, we like scientists. We have no planes, no balloons. We have no planes, no balloons. But we have authority. I ask you, who will save the country? Who will save this country? We will save it at the ballot box. So like this video, share it,